Good morning guys, welcome back to another episode of Bareham Engines. So we are, what time is it? 9:15 in the morning, and we are just heading down to our friends at RCS Tuning. We've got a bit of an issue down there. It's been a little bit of an ongoing issue really. Rich has got a couple of fault codes on that 600 horsepower 435 X-Drive BMW. So he's sort of come to the conclusion that it may be the seals on the end of the camshaft behind the Vanos unit. We sort of had our doubts to start with, so I took the rocker cover off the other day, had a little look, made sure that Vanoses are locking out, and they seem to be. They've double checked the timing and everything like that, but it's coming up with two faults saying that the cams are installed incorrectly, but they're obviously not, because the thing's done 200 or 300 miles and run faultlessly and still runs faultlessly. So apparently they may be losing a little bit of oil pressure through those O-rings there. So we're going to head down there. Because I've got my special tool, I'm going to be changing those seals today. And so yeah, let's head on down there and I'll show you what I mean. Right guys, so we're over at RCS, well, the unit next door, and this is the BMW 435. So as you can see, Rich has got Matt, his mechanic friend, to take the top off and what have you for me, and the front Vanos units, which is very helpful. We've got all the bits lying down here. Now, the problem that people seem to think it is, this is throwing up a couple of codes saying that the installation of the cams is incorrect. And what that seems to mean is that it's losing oil pressure that are going to the Vanos units. So what a lot of people are saying on the forums is inside here and inside here on the camshaft is two what look like PTFE O-rings really. I think on the old N54s and that, they used to have like a steel ring, and people are saying that they tend to wear and can sort of release oil pressure, I suppose, out of this gap really in between the cam and the housing, the bearing housing. But I've always had my doubts, so I said to Rich, bring it in, and what I'll do is I'll take the top off and I'll check to make sure that Vanos units are locking out, because they've got a locking mechanism stationary, and it's basically unlocked through oil pressure. So when the oil pressure builds, it unlocks the locking mechanism, and then they can work, the Vanos system works. So I checked that, they all locked out, so obviously we've got it back here, and what I was going to do today is replace these seals. So I did order them from BMW, they're about £3 or £4 each, nothing major. But on first inspection of the Vanos units, obviously the importance of these seals keeping in oil pressure is the same importance as both the face-to-face fit of the Vanos unit in the end of the cam and this diameter here being critical. Obviously it's got to be a sliding fit, and the way you can tell that is if we get a decent Vanos. So you see on the end of that Vanos there, that slides into the cam, and the face-to-face fit on there is what seals it. So you can see where you've got the clear silver area on the end of there, that is where it is sealed in the cam, and then the brown on the outside is obviously where you've got hot oil that just sits on there. So if you've got a nice clear area, you can tell that's been sealing in there and not causing an issue. But when I looked at the other Vanos unit, if you look at that, that looks like a ploughed field. And I've measured that, and it is pretty much 4 thou down on diameter compared to the other one. So you put that in the end of the cam and it's flapping about. So I've done some homework on this, and what seems to be an issue is they had a recall on these bolts. Now these bolts here are what hold the Vanos unit to the cam, and they had a recall on these, so they obviously had a bit of an issue, and I suppose what that caused is it to come loose. But that to me looks a bit like they've had an issue in the past with the bolt, and it's been oscillating on the end of the cam, and someone's obviously tried to clean it up with some sandpaper or something, but that is buggered, and I personally think that is what the problem is. So they've been to BMW and to see how much a kit is, and it's about 1,300 quid for a full cam chain kit with the Vanos units, but I can actually get the Vanoses for about £110 each. cost to me. So I'm going to go down the road and I'm going to get that for Rich. He wants a chain kit, so I'm going to go and get that. He's going to call Matt up, get him back in to replace those, and fingers crossed we've cured the problem, guys. But yeah, bit of a strange one that, and problems like this with these modern engines can take some finding. Right guys, I don't know whether I've showed you this grotty looking machine before, a grinding machine. So it's a little bit the same as that milling machine that's in operation over there, except we use grinding stones. So if you have a look underneath here, you can see that there is a series of grinding stones underneath there. There's 10 stones, I believe, 10 stones. So what we normally use in there is 5 stones for steel, cast iron, and then 5 stones for aluminium. We used to be able to get a stone, which they no longer do, that does aluminium and steel both together. But as I say, they're no longer available. So we have to sort of use a combination of the both and hope that it works really. But as you can see on here, we've got a cylinder head off a T4 transporter, Volkswagen. It's a 5-cylinder. And the problem we've got with these, as you can see, it's an aluminium head. But the reason we don't do it on the milling machine over there is because, as you can see in here, we've got steel pre-combustion chambers in there. So you're basically cutting aluminium into steel. And with the tip tool, what you find is it gets to the steel and sort of jumps over and then scores the aluminium. So you just can't get a finish on it, and it just leaves these steel pre-com chambers proud. So we've got to grind them. And so we find that this combination of stones here is what works the best. Now, as you can see, the finish is pretty good on that, but every now and again, you'll get like a little score like that, which, you know, you've got to keep the stones dressed. And you've got coolant here, which you've got to sort of blast on the stones to wash the crap away, really. So yeah, as you see, I've just started machining this one. It's cleaned at both ends, okay, but you can see in the middle where it hasn't cleaned, and you've got these 2 areas here where the gasket's been blowing good and proper. So yeah, I'll get this machine fired up and just show you how it works. So I'm sorry about the racket, guys. We've got the boring bar on the go, which I'll show you what I'm doing there in a moment. Obviously, we've got the milling machine. John's just skimming ahead over there. So what we do on here, we've got a series of controls. You've got the feed control here, and you've got the coolant on, and then you've got the wheel on. This is the main power. So we've turned all of them on. We turn the main power on. You can hear the wheels spin up. Plus, you've got the coolant going. So what we'll do is we pull this handle out to disengage it, and that means we can manually turn it side to side. If we push it in, it engages, press that button and it will start feeding on its own. So if we just wind the bed over, as I always do a back cut on this, I find you get a better finish. So we've got the 2 stops, you've got one there and you've got one over there. So we've obviously set the stops, so when it comes over to the stop, it presses these little buttons and then it changes direction on the feed. So we'll put a cut on here. Now it's very difficult to see because this is quite weathered, this machine, but you see those figures there? Well, that there is 2 thou. So we normally put about a 2 thou cut on, engage the machine, press the go button, and you'll see that'll start feeding back now. Right, we have Paul back today, so we're just going to go outside and see what he's been up to for the last 4 days he's been off. But first of all, we'll see what Isaac's been up to the last couple of days. Hello, Isaac. All right,
mate.
You cold today?
No, I'm just wearing a hoodie.
Yeah, fair enough, because you look cool and you're young. Yeah. Fair enough. Thank you very much, Paul.
Cheers, Paul.
What do you mean didn't work? It's nearly deafened me. Right, on a serious note, mate, we'll ignore him, he's a child.
Yeah.
What you been up to here?
Well, just been mostly mucking about with the valves in the block.
Okay. Well, first of all, the block does look really nice. That's a lovely colour.
Yeah, I'm quite happy with it.
I noticed a couple of the comments in the last video, they did say what that colour was, but I can't remember what it was now.
No, I don't know either.
No.
We just got a tin of it.
But it looks very nice. Block's all faced. I noticed 3 of the valves are in, so they're obviously lapped in all right.
Yeah, those 3 lapped in absolutely perfectly. But this M1,
Right.
you can see sort of on the top of the seat there, it's not
So
been
there's a little
grinding
area
against
there that's dark, which means it's not been lapping in very well. So there's 2 things we can do with that. You can either keep lapping,
which I've tried, and I don't think it's going to happen.
or we can cut the seat.
So I expect we'll do that.
But the only problem is with this is
It's on an angle. Obviously, the block face is angled anyway.
yeah,
And then the actual guide, which you need to be able to get the cutting tool down, it's sort of
it's not 90 degrees
it's not,
to the
yeah,
surface.
It's not.
Yeah, so the Centronic is what we cut the seats with. You can see the magnetic base there, which has got to sit on the block face. And this is the guide, so it needs to be as sort of 90 degrees as it can. You've got some movement in the head here where you can, doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but obviously that seat there, compared to the head face, is almost 45 degrees, probably about 40 degrees, and you just haven't got.
We did, me and John gave it a try. We tried to sort of set it up, but it just is, it's way too much of an angle for it. So
Okay.
I think John's managed to get some like manual hand seat cutters.
Right.
So we're going to, well, I think he's just gone out in a minute, but we're going to give that a go in a minute.
Okay.
Hopefully that'll work.
Well, that'd be ideal, but the guides are all good, are they?
Yeah, the guides are they're good. It's surprising really, considering it's such an old engine.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Decent condition it's in really.
It's what, 60, 70 year old now, isn't it? This?
Getting on that, yeah, something like that.
Head looks all together, mate.
Yeah, so I've just loosely put all the sort of little bits on with all the gaskets in there just to make sure they fit and it's all right, and sort of just helps with a bit of organisation as well.
Yeah, it does looks
all
really nice with the silver cover and that, and the badges.
Yeah.
The attention to detail.
Yeah, I quite liked cleaning up them little badges. And
no, you're doing a good job,
stuff.
mate. It's looking very nice. Well, let's go and have a little look, see what Paul's up to. Right.
Oh, hello, mate.
Paul's back. It's lovely to have him back. Nothing's been happening in this area whatsoever since he's been
away
off.
4 days, and I mean, what's gone on in 4 days? Nothing.
Well, exactly.
On the backbone.
Yeah.
The backbone.
Isaac's the only one doing work. I seem to be in the orifice more than anything.
And John's just, well, no one knows where John is, do we?
John's disappeared.
John's just out of ultra parts all the time. The old time he's gone.
So what you been up to, mate? Why have you been off for 4 days here?
Right, so we went to, well, me and my brother, some friends went to Anglesey.
Yeah, and how did that go?
Pretty good. Went up to Drift Matsuri.
Yeah.
My brother took his Skyline up there.
Okay.
For a little drift day.
A drift day, is that the event, is it?
It's just like an end of year bash, really. It's sort of, it's not a competition, it's just big circuit up there. And sort of a lot of the maybe bigger drivers got there as well.
Yeah.
Sort of, so it was good fun.
So it all went well? This weekend went smoothly?
Yeah, he had a little minor excursion.
Oh yeah,
on
what
Saturday
was that?
afternoon. Hit minor excursion of the tyres, a little bit damaged, nothing we can't sort out.
Oh, that's
and
all right.
then broke down on the M5.
Oh, you broke down?
9 o'clock at night on Sunday.
What happened there, do you know?
I think ran out of fuel.
Ran out of fuel,
Yeah,
mate.
ran out of fuel. So 3 hours on the side of the M5, a mile from junction 27.
Yeah.
And not good.
So you ran out
So we
of
didn't
fuel.
get home.
Whose fault was that? Yours or the gauges?
It was my brother's, it's the gauge.
Brothers, the gauges,
No, I don't know,
anyone
the gauge,
but you?
it's a bit of an iffy gauge. It's on Iveco daily, so
Okay.
you know the gauge. You don't know what it is.
No.
But,
But now you know, don't you?
Didn't get home to 1:15.
1:15.
1:15 in the morning.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so felt stoked
With
the
a
next
lightly
day.
damaged skyline on the back.
Lightly damaged car, but nothing we can't fix.
No, nothing you can't fix. That's all right. What we got going on here, mate? The E-Type Jag.
Yes, so the 4.2 Jag engine.
Okay.
Um,
So how far we got?
right, so the new oil pump.
Yeah. Looks like a bit of a
It is
setup on the back here.
It's not the easiest setup ever. So
No.
basically, you've got your pickup pipe. The pickup pipe bolts to the main cap, bolts,
Yeah.
obviously, and then you've got another bolt there to the main cap. So it picks up there, goes to the pump,
Yeah.
comes out down here,
Okay.
bolts.
And that goes into the main oil gallery.
Yep.
So what seals these pipes in here? Is O-rings?
Just 2 rubber O-rings. So we put new rubber O-rings in, but they're a bit of a pain in the arse at times. So you've got to sort of lube them up and just
Yeah, these are the ones you've got to sort
massage them
of make
in.
sure that they feel all right.
You've got, if they're too loose, they just leak. If they're too tight, you just push the seal back in.
Yeah.
And that runs off, obviously, the distributor shaft.
Yeah.
It runs off this cog and a crank.
Okay. So that's drives the distributor
Yep.
from the pump.
It's a classic old school design.
So this has got to be. Has this got to be timed in here?
Yeah, so there's sort of like an offset D on this.
Yeah.
and you've got to make sure that's timed up properly at TDC.
Right, okay.
So you can get the dizzy in properly. Well, the dizzy's got to sit in the right place. But it's like that with most sort of distributor engines.
Yeah, so
basically.
it's got to be, you've got to make sure it's timed right here.
Yeah.
When it's on TDC.
The chain assembly, or have a little, get this over and show you. Yeah. Look at the strength of the man.
Strength of them.
Strength of them. Chain assembly is on, bolted down. This is weird as well. So you've got to cable tie these together.
Yeah.
To get the head over it.
Okay.
So we've done that. 4 bolts, boltless on, and then obviously we've got to put the tensioner on.
Yeah.
And then you can adjust these guides as well.
So what's this here then? That's a tensioner
That's
setup.
the tensioner setup. So you push this in.
Yeah.
And this, you're meant to have a special tool, but
okay.
Probably just use a chisel, to be honest with you. Yeah. To tension this, and then you bolt that and lock it off.
Okay.
And then that's just sort of a
bit of a safety mechanism, really.
Like a lock, yeah.
Oh, but it's coming on then, mate. So we're just waiting for the pistons, which I'm assuming.
Waiting for pistons that John has hopefully ordered.
Yeah.
And then we can get the pistons on the rods, get the pistons on the rods, obviously. And then we can get the head on.
Okay.
Time up. So obviously all the studs are in, they've gone in lovely.
Yeah. So bottom end wise, pretty much there, really, almost.
Yeah, getting there.
Pistons. All the rods are balanced and sized, and.
Yeah, rods are balanced and sized. So if we get the bits, we can maybe get it together this week.
Yeah.
So the front cover can go on in a minute, and I've got the water pump, so the water pump can go on.
Yeah.
So we are finally getting there this one.
Yes.
So
well,
hopefully,
excellent, mate.
Parts will turn up for the 3.5.
Thank you, don't.
So, yeah.
I'm sure we're plodding through them methodically, but it's nice to have you back anyway, Paul.
I know you missed me. Like
Well,
you did send me a
I've
nice. You did send me a nice message last night, and it was very touching.
Oh, good.
I think we should wait. What state's the head in? I think we just.
The head, I've got to. I've been putting off soda blasting. I've been telling them in the last 2 videos that I'm going to soda blast the head, and I haven't yet done it, Paul. But there's a reason for that, because I don't want to get sodery.
Well, when I soda blast, I get covered in it.
Yeah.
I'll go home and it's in my socks, it's in my phone, it's in my pockets. So either
Underpants.
Yeah. Either we got rock paper scissors, or we get Isaac to do it.
I think we should go for the rock paper scissors. Hello. Hello. We're thinking about doing the rock paper scissors, mate, to soda blast the head. Yeah. Because I don't fancy doing it. Now Paul's back. The idea was for me, really. Junior member. I can't keep doing it to him, though. I think it's a form of bullying, really, isn't it?
Form of bullying.
It's a form of bullying. And you know what it's like these days. You've got to be very careful. So we'll go for the rock paper scissors then, Paul. Yeah.
All right, and then if I lose, I'll pull rank and get him.
We did actually do a trial before my mic was turned on.
Yeah, and I won.
And he won 2-0. So
I won. So technically, if you win, it's best out of 3 out of the games. Yeah.
Are you including Lizard Spock as well?
The what?
Lizard Spock.
What's that? Yeah. Right, here we go.
So we're going to go on 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, go?
We'll go on 3.
Okay.
Ready?
Okay.
Go on, Paul, go rock.
1,
Go rock.
2.
Da!
Souls.
I told you to go rock.
Right. I went rock. I took bad advice.
You need to go for scissors.
Right.
Here we go. 1, 2.
Da!
Don't believe
Yes.
that. I literally ain't won 1.
Nice one, buddy.
So,
So that's me then.
yeah, get covered, mate.
Best 3 out of 5.
Okay,
To be fair, when you do it, you don't. You come out unscathed. You hardly any soda in you. When I do, I literally look like
Well, I
snowman.
do really. It gets in me hood and all
I'll
that.
give you that suit.
Oh yeah, forgot about that. Yeah.
I'll give you the suit.
But where is the suit?
Do you want another one?
I wouldn't mind one.
I'll give you another one.
We've got a spray suit. Stuart's going to give us a spray suit. Save me looking like Al Pacino. Well, it's lovely to have you back, Paul.
Thanks, mate.
So I'll go and get sodery.
Yeah.
So with this machine, it's a more so, it's a little bit vague, but you sort of want to hear it. So you need to be listening for it to be cut in, especially with aluminium, because what happens if the stone gets clogged, you can hear it putting a heavier cut on, and all it's doing is digging in the aluminium. So you do need to keep those stones dressed nicely. And at the moment you can hear that cutting. You can see the swarf coming off at the back there. So that is cutting quite nicely. You can hear it now going over the pre-com chambers. Also what you'll find is if the stones do need dressing, you'll find that the steel starts to burn a little bit where the stones have gone a little bit glazed. So yeah, it's started to cut round here now, so we'll go back and put another cut on. Right, see, we're almost done there. We're just going to do a little bit more because of this area here. You can see where the water's been coming in this cylinder. So what I'm going to do is just show you how to dress the stones. So what we've got here is this arm with a diamond cutter on the front there. So what we do is we take the pin out of that arm, and then the arm drops down. Okay, now at the moment you've got the adjuster here. If you wind it down, that lifts the diamond up and that goes into the stone. So what you do, you see that's dressing the stone there, you hear that? If I wind that down very, very slightly and put another little cut on, you just go backwards and forwards, and you can sort of feel that it's nice and smooth now, and those stones are lovely and dressed. So we lift this up, put the pin back in when I got both my hands back, and continue to do another cut. So there we go, guys. The T4 head is complete, and that's probably about the best finish you're going to get on that. So yeah, pretty pleased with that, to be honest with you. Well guys, thanks ever so much for watching today's video. Until another one, remember to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we will see you then. Take care, guys.